Hello and welcome to this guitar lesson. This is one of our Riff of the Week videos. And in this one I'm going to show you how to play Beat It by Michael Jackson. Obviously it's a classic, popular rock guitar riff. It's going to sound something like this. So let's begin with that, and in a minute I'll show you some of the other bits, you know, the bit from the chorus and there's a few lead bits. I'm not going to show you the whole lead solo because it's way too complicated, way too difficult, and I have no idea how to play it. So let's start with the main riff. It goes like this. 6th string open. Like that. Use your middle finger onto the 6th string at fret 3 and give that a pluck. And then move on to the 5th string at fret 2. So the first 3 notes we've got are these. Now, I want you to use your little finger to play the 4th string at fret 5. Now, for some people, you need to learn to build the strength in your little finger, but that's okay, that'll come with practice. But I urge you to use your little finger, because by using your little finger, it gives your hand a chance to practice stretching out, and that's a good thing in the long run. It's a good habit to start with. So let's build the strength in the little finger. 4th string at fret 5. And then use your first finger to play the 4th string at fret 2. So if we join those notes together, we've got this. Now what we're going to do is a hammer. Now if you've seen free lesson number 5 from the free 12-part course, you'll know what we're talking about. I want you to hold the 4th string at fret 2 on the 4th string. Now, you're going to give that a pluck, but what we're going to do, we're going to use our 3rd finger and we're going to hammer on to fret 4 on the 4th string. So what that means is it's one pluck. You start on fret 2, and then you use your 3rd finger. I'll do it again. Like that. You hammer it down. So I'm only plucking with the plectrum once. Like that. You pluck once, but you hammer that finger onto fret 4, okay? It takes a bit of practice, but you'll quickly get used to it. It's a great skill because it's important for all of the guitar playing you're going to be doing. So, once you've done the hammer, quite quickly like that, you go back off to the 4th string at fret 2 and give it a new pluck. And then we're going to go to the little finger on the 5th string at fret 5 and pluck it twice. Like that, okay. Now that is the whole riff. Here we go, in slow motion. And again. Okay, let me speed up. Okay, so what happens is, the first time he plays it, he finishes with that little finger twice, but when you do the riff again, you only play it once, like this. Okay, and you can really have some fun with it. Now you'll notice, obviously I'm using an electric guitar and I'm using a Marshall amp, and I press the channel button and that turns the distortion on. That's what makes it sound more rock. It's an overdrive sound, okay? You can call it what you want. Some people call it distortion, some people call it drive, some people call it boost, some people call it gain, you know, there's a gain knob on the amp. So, okay, you call it what you want, but that's the rock sound we're using. Now, let's look at some of the power chords that they use in the verse while Michael Jackson's singing. Okay, that's the verse section. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to do it as a bar chord. Now, bar chords are quite tricky, but there's only one way to learn, and that's by doing it. So let's just go for it. What we're going to do is use the first finger to lay flat across all 5 strings at fret 7. Now I say 5 strings because we don't need to hold down the 6th string on this one, okay? So hold that first finger flat across those strings. Now you can give it a test. You can hold those strings flat and strum to see if you're holding down all the strings. It takes a bit of practice, and I encourage you to have your thumb on the back of the neck, like that, in the middle. Because if your palm is on the guitar, it'll make it difficult for your finger to stretch around. But if you use this type of hand position, it makes it easier to stretch that first finger across, okay? But just experiment with it. You know, there's only one way to find out, and that's just by trying it. So just trial and error, okay? Just play around and just find what feels comfortable, okay? So once you've got that bar at fret 7, as you can see on the chord diagram next to me, we're going to use the middle finger to hold down the 2nd string at fret 8. We're going to put the 3rd finger on the 4th string at fret 9 and the little finger on the 3rd string at fret 9. Now, that'll take a bit of practice. Just pause the video and take a look at the chord diagram next to me, okay? And just fiddle about with it, and you know, you should get the hang of it. So with the 6th string open and these notes, what we've got is an E minor chord. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to strum it 3 times. Like that. I'm going to put the distortion back on. Now the weird thing is we don't actually need to strum all the strings. The main strings we want to strum are really mainly the 5th string, 4th string and 3rd string. And you might think, well Ben, why don't we just hold down those strings? Why do we need the whole chord? Well, like I say, it's just good practice. And if you want to strum all the strings, you can, and it'll still sound right, okay? So I'm kind of, you know, we're getting into good habits. I hope that makes sense. So with the plectrum, you're strumming twice together, and then you're cutting the note dead by using the palm of your hand. And then you strum again, like that. So it's 1, 2, 3, like this. Okay? That'll take a bit of practice. That's a palm muting technique. Alright, now let's change the power chord. We're going to take this bar and we're going to slide it down from fret 7 down to fret 5. And we're going to use a different chord. We're going to use a 3rd finger or the little finger, it's up to you, to lay across the 4th string, 3rd string and 2nd string, like a mini bar. Now if you look at the chord diagram next to me, you'll see what I mean. So you can use that 3rd finger or the little finger, but the most important thing is that the 1st finger is on the 5th string at fret 5. And then the second most important thing is that this mini bar is holding down the 4th, 3rd and 2nd string kind of flat, okay, like that. Or the little finger, it's up to you, okay? So, what I want you to do, very carefully, use your plectrum to strum strings 5, 4 and 3. Do not strum the 6th string, we don't need it. Like that, okay? 1, 2, 3, like that. Okay, let me speed it up. You can see how I'm using that palm to cut the notes dead. Now if you don't do that, what will it sound like? It'll sound like this. That's with no palm muting, okay? So if you don't cut those notes dead, you'll just sound like a beginner kind of thing. Okay, so to punctuate it, that's why we use the palm. To make it sound sharp, okay? Now, I've already said that we're not using the 6th string on this chord, and you can use the tip of your 1st finger to touch the 6th string just gently, just right there, just touching it to mute it, to make sure that it doesn't make a noise. So because your finger's touching it, it stops it from making a noise. That's just another thing that you need to practice. Don't let all this stuff be overwhelming. Just learn one thing at a time. Just enjoy it. Just take it slowly. Just learn it bit by bit. There's no rush. All these little things look easy, but they take a long time to get the hang of. So however you're playing it right now is fine, okay? There's no rush to be able to do it full speed. Now, the good news is we're going to take this chord back to the 1st chord, the E minor, okay? So we're going to go like this. Okay, back. Now here's the good news. We're just going to slide this D chord down 2 frets so it becomes a C. So what we've got there is the 1st finger on the 5th string at fret 3, and then we've got this mini bar on fret 5. That's with strings 4, 3 and 2 held down flat. And again, we're not using the 6th string, so I just want you to pluck strings 5, 4 and 3. And maybe 2 as well. Like that. and then move back up 2 frets, back to the D chord, and then go back to the E minor, and finish on the D. Okay, so let me run through that in slow motion. E minor, D, E minor, D, C. That was a D, and then E minor, and then D. It's nice and simple, okay? So I'd say one of the most important things is getting comfortable with the bar, and that means getting comfortable by having your first finger held down flat across those strings and holding them all down tight. Get used to that, and also get used to that strumming pattern. That 1, 2, chop, 3, chop, like this. Okay? And as you speed it up, it'll sound funky. Chorus. It's cool, isn't it? Okay, so be patient, learn it slowly, take your time. I didn't learn to play that in just 2 minutes, okay? Take your time, learn it slowly, learn it properly, get into good habits. The things like the little finger and stuff like that. Now there's another cool little riff that I was going to avoid showing you because it's tricky, but you know what? I decided I'm going to show you it. It's the bit that kind of goes like this. Right, it's pretty simple. It's the middle finger on the 2nd string at fret 8. You're going to pluck it twice. And then play the 3rd string at fret 9. And then play the 2nd string at fret 7. And then play the 3rd string at fret 7. Now look how I've used my fingers. Middle finger, 3rd finger, 3rd finger on the 2nd string at 7. Okay, so it's like this, in slow motion. One of the things you've got to get into the habit of is this chopping technique. If you're going to be a funky guitarist and play cool sounding stuff. Now what this is a technique where we're using our fingers to not to hold down the strings, but just to touch them. And then when we strum, the notes are dead because we're just gently touching the strings, okay? Now I want you to get used to that because it's important. Practice doing this. Okay, hold the note dead and chop down and up with the plectrum. You get the idea, okay? Now get used to it like this. Get the hang of it, because when it comes to riffs like this, then you can employ that technique to make it sound funkier. Now, I'm not going to explain every single down and up stroke in this particular little mini video guitar lesson, because what I want you to do is learn to play the basic notes. And I want you to start adding those little chops in. I want you to experiment, I want you to take the initiative to try it for yourself. And keep playing this riff round and round and round. And what you'll find is your strumming hand, you'll get your plectrum hand will get into the groove and you'll start doing it. It'll start happening. This is one of those type of techniques that is very hard to teach someone, but as the guitar student, or you in this case, as you get into it and as you play it, you'll start doing it. Okay, so bear that in mind. I trust you to learn to do it. So start simple. Start chopping. Okay, there you go. You get the idea. That's a few of the simple riffs from Beat It by Michael Jackson. This was only meant to be a mini lesson. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope you've had fun. I'll see you in one of the other guitar lessons soon. My name's Ben Lowry. Thank you.